It was early morning, and the sun was yet to surface beyond the horizon. While the rest of the country was still asleep, the grounds of Kurukshetra woke up to the clamor of armors and weapons, the cry of elephants, the neigh of horses, and the excited voices of the soldiers. Duryodhan held a meeting in Bhishma's tent with his generals. He asked, "O great warriors, tell me, how long would it take for us to annihilate the Pandava army?" Bhishma was putting on his armor. He looked at Duryodhan and said, "I told you, I will kill 10,000 foot soldiers and 1,000 charioteers a day. At this rate, the Pandava army would be eliminated in a month." Drona said, "I'm old and I don't have the same vigor of my youth. Still, just like Bhishma, I can destroy the Pandava army in a month." Kripa said, "I would take 2 months." Young Ashwathama, the valiant son of Drona, said, "Give me 10 days and the Pandava army would vanish from the face of the earth." Karna smirked and said, "I need only 5 days to finish them off." Bhishma laughed. "Ah, Karna, you haven't yet met the Krishna-Arjun duo, and that's why you make such outrageous claims. When Arjun is led by Krishna as his charioteer, nothing in this universe can stop them. They are indestructible. But you have the right to your opinion." When Yudhishthir heard of the Kaurava claims from his spies, he felt uncomfortable. He called his brothers and shared the news. "What do you think? Can the Kauravas really destroy us so quick? Can Ashwathama kill all our men in 10 days and Karna in 5 days?" Bhim laughed. "Ha! These are nothing but empty claims. They want to scare us, and that's why they spoke in the presence of our spies." Arjun, however, didn't take it so lightly. The Kaurava greats have spoken the truth. They do possess the might and skills to destroy our army in the time they claim. However, you shouldn't be concerned. With Krishna's guidance, I can destroy the Kauravas in an instant. Remember, I have the Pasupat weapon from Lord Shiva. But I think it is unfair to use such a powerful weapon on the enemy, for it would annihilate them without giving them a chance to defend themselves. I would fight them using conventional weapons. With help from our allies, I am sure we would prevail over the Kauravas very soon." As the day progressed, the Kaurava and the Pandava army assembled on the battlefield. The Pandavas took the western side of the field facing the east, while the Kauravas took the opposite end. The soldiers wore colorful uniforms that distinguished the Kauravas from the Pandavas. Flags and banners marked each general with their armies. The army band played trumpets and drums to motivate the soldiers. The healers and their assistants waited in the flanks with medicine and ointments to take care of the wounded. Men with supplies of weapons to replenish the soldiers stood at strategic points with their stock. The horses, the elephants, the infantry stood in attention and waited for the signal to pounce upon the enemies. Before the battle began, the ministers from the Kauravas and the Pandavas met to decide on the rules of engagement. After a short deliberation, the senior minister stood up and announced the rules. "The battle will be fought from dawn to dusk. After sunset, both parties will cease fighting and maintain a cordial relationship as they did before the war. During the battle, a charioteer would fight a charioteer, a horseman another horseman, an elephant another elephant, infantry another infantry. If a man chooses to fight with words, the other party should also use only words to counter and no other weapons. If a soldier leaves his battalion to take shelter or rest, he should not be attacked. One must first let his opponent know his intent to fight, and if the opponent willingly agrees, only then can they engage. One who is reluctant to fight should not be forced to fight. A wounded or helpless unarmed man should not be attacked. Healers, band members, or men who carry supplies should not be attacked either." While the war preparations were in progress, the blind King Dhritarashtra sat alone in his chamber in the palace of Hastinapur. A feeling of remorse engulfed him. He wanted to avoid the war, but Duryodhan wouldn't listen. It would be difficult to defeat the Pandavas, he thought. With Krishna as his charioteer and advisor, Arjun would be indomitable in the battlefield. Arjun has acquired divine weapons from the gods and is well prepared to counter Bhishma, Drona, Karna and the other Kuru generals. He would spare nobody. The second Pandava, Bhimsen, is extremely dangerous. He never liked Duryodhan and his brothers. Dhritarashtra remembered the day when Dussasana humiliated Draupadi during the dice game. "Stop squealing, you slave!" Bhim had promised to tear apart Dussasana's chest and drink his blood. "If one day in the battlefield I don't tear open the chest of this scoundrel Dussasana and drink his blood, then I won't attain the abode of my ancestors. This I promise." He vowed to kill Duryodhan. "You scoundrel! How dare you show such disrespect to Draupadi? One day, if I don't break that thigh of yours with a blow of my mace, then let the doors of heaven be forever closed for me." Dhritarashtra shuddered at the thought of such a horrible end of his dearest son. Only if Bhishma, Drona, Karna and Kripa rose up to the occasion and showed their true prowess. Then nobody would be able to touch Duryodhana. And why not? Bhishma is obligated to serve the throne of Hastinapur. So is Drona. It is their duty to protect their king. Besides, Karna is no less than Arjuna. If Karna can control his arrogance, then he alone can destroy the Pandava army. The thoughts made Dhritarashtra feel a little better. Just then, he heard his trusted friend Sanjay walk into his room. Come, Sanjay. Tell me, have you heard of any news from the battlefield? Did the war begin? Who's winning? Sanjay bowed to Dhritarashtra and said, O king, our messengers haven't yet arrived with any news. As far as I know, the battle would begin today. Bhishma is leading the Kaurava army while Drishtadumna leads the Pandavas. Dhritarashtra sighed and said, How unfortunate a king I am that I have to live so far away from the battlefield. My sons, my loved ones, my men are fighting for my throne, and I sit here helpless and wait for the bad news to arrive. As soon as Dhritarashtra uttered these words, the great Rishi Vyasa appeared in the chamber. He touched Dhritarashtra's head and said,
My son, stop lamenting for the inevitable. You know very well it is time for your sons to pay for their misdeeds. They will all be killed in this epic battle. A battle like this happens once in eons to cleanse the earth of the evil. If you wish, I can give you a special vision and you can witness the battle sitting here in your room.
Dhritarashtra shook his head and said, No, father, I don't want any special vision. I have been blind all my life and now I don't want to watch this horrible bloodshed of my sons. I have my hearing. If you can, please give me the power to listen to the detailed description and commentary of the war as and when it happens.
All right then. I will give Sanjay special powers that will enable him to watch the battle as it happens. Sitting next to you, he can watch the battle and narrate to you every detail as if he's standing right there in the midst of the battlefield. Don't worry about your sons, for this war would open the gates of heaven to them. Remember, those who follow the path of dharma would be the ultimate winners.
Saying so, Vyasa disappeared. Sanjay, do you have your special vision? Asked Dhritarashtra. What do you see? I see the Kurukshetra battlefield. O king, I see it all, and I will narrate to you each and every detail I see. In the Kurukshetra battlefield, wearing a white helmet and a white armor, Bhishma mounted his chariot. He looked around at the kings and generals and said, It is a curse for a Kshatriya to die of old age and sickness. To be killed in a battle is the highest honor a Kshatriya can wish for. Don't be afraid to fight, for this battle would lead you to the heavens. The kings, the generals and the soldiers hailed Bhishma as he led the huge Kaurava army towards the battlefield. Ashwathama, Dronacharya, Bhurisrava, Duryodhan, Salva, Kripacharya, Jayadratha, Bhagadatta and all the other generals followed Bhishma with their respective armies. With Bhishma's orders, the generals arranged the army in a multifaceted formation with cavalry guarding the sides, the elephant in the center, while the valiant kings in their chariots led the front. The huge army moved slowly in formation and took their position on the battlefield. On the other end, Yudhishthir called Arjuna and said, Brother, you see the Kaurava formation? War experts advise that if your army is smaller than your enemy, create the needle formation. What do you think we should do? Arjuna looked at Yudhishthir and said, Don't worry, I am creating the Vajra formation that Lord Indra taught me. Drishtadumna helped Arjuna create the formation and soon the Pandava army began to move. Bhim led the formation with his mace in hand. Drishtadumna, Nakul, Sahadev and King Virat followed Bhim. Shikhandi, Abhimanyu and the 5 sons of Draupadi went next. Satyaki followed Arjuna as his cover. Yudhishthir moved with the formation with his chariot in the center. Yudhishthir turned to Arjuna and said, I still don't understand how can we fight an army led by our valiant grandfather Bhishma. His formation looks indomitable and I'm really concerned if we can ever beat him. Arjuna smiled and said, Righteousness, truthfulness and patience often leads to victory than mere physical strength. You have always followed the path of truth. Nobody can defeat you. Besides, we have Krishna on our side and he will lead us to our victory. On the Kaurava side, Duryodhana asked his charioteer to take him to Dronacharya. Standing next to Drona, he said, Sir, look at the huge army of the Pandavas. Your disciple Drishtadumna built their formation. They have the support of great warriors like Satyaki, Virat, Drishtaketu, Chetikan, Abhimanyu and many others. It won't be easy to defeat them. But we have you, Karna, Kripacharya, your son, Ashwathama and many other gallant warriors fighting for us. I request you to rise up to the occasion and lend your full support to our leader, Bhishma. Fight for the throne of Hastinapur. Fight for King Dhritarashtra. Bhishma blew his conch shell and the sound reverberated through the battlefield. The army army band began to beat their huge drums and blew their trumpets. On the Pandava side, Krishna blew his mighty Panchajan conch, and Arjun blew his Devadatta conch. Yudhishthira and the Pandava warriors blew theirs. The deep and ominous sound from the shells caused shivers in the soldiers waiting to pounce into battle. Arjun looked at Krishna and said, Krishna, please take me to the center of the battlefield between the two armies. I wish to see whom I'll be fighting. Krishna said, Are you sure you want to do this? Yes, I do. I want to look at the faces of my enemy before I kill them. So be it, said Krishna. He tugged the reins, and the chariot broke apart from the formation as it slowly rolled towards the Kaurava army.